Let's go! Coen Echols commits to LSU, making it not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but six offensive linemen for this 2024 crop. Comment down below, is this your favorite offensive line class that LSU has ever brought in? And we'll talk about the rest of that class a little bit later. Give Brian Kelly and in particular Brad Davis a lot of credit staying on top of things here. And, there was quite a few people that thought Coen Echols was going to go to Auburn, and LSU just kept recruiting and they finally got the job done. And this guy is a player. Now, I'm going to get to a potential weakness coming up in just a moment, but I'm going to tell you what I love about him right off the jump. I was able to listen to an interview he did, and one thing that's very interesting is his positional versatility, right? He's a soft-spoken guy, but he knows how to play every position up front. And you'll see throughout this tape what makes it difficult is you see him right here playing center, doing some dead ball snapping, and then you'll also see him play off at the tackle. You also see him play some offensive guard. So when it comes to playing so many different positions up front, Coen Echols might be the most positionally diverse offensive lineman LSU has brought in. I mean, you just see him having different highlights all throughout here at all five, essentially, of the positions, right? And that is very freaking impressive. The next thing that really stands out to me about Echols is how heavy-handed he is as a lineman. Now, what does that mean that you have heavy hands? Well, just use a little common sense. That's what it basically means. That means when you punch or when you engage, the other guy is shocked. He is pushed back in the run game or he is stalemated in the pass game. And you'll see, even though some of these guys that he's moving here are undersized guys, when he hits you, the opponent has a jolt to his body, and that is something that you want an offensive lineman to have. Some linemen don't have that initial punch strength, but they're able to make up with it with quickness, which is something else Coen Echols has. He has a good first step, something that you always like to see. So he's quick. He does a really good job finding his assignment. In particular, he is really good at something called a down block. You see a lot of really good down blocks on this tape. So for me, Coen Echols, really good athlete, really good first step, really good hands. I freaking love to see it. You also see a lot of zone blocking plays, which is something LSU does do a lot of. You do see some occasional counters mixed in there as well, but for the most part, his run blocking is absolutely amazing. Now, are there some other things that kind of stand out to me as some potential room for growth? Sure, yes, but one thing I love about him is he plays till the final whistle. When he doesn't have anyone to block, guess what he does? He looks for someone else to block. When it looks like the play is almost over, guess what? It's not over. He is working to get the guy finished on the ground, and that's something else I love. He has a really good start-to-stop motor, which is something you love. He's got that killer's mentality. He's got that tenacity that you look for from an offensive lineman. So those things are really good things when I look at him. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and it's important to look at this with an open mind. I want every kid that goes to LSU to have a lot of success. So whenever I'm critical of a recruit evaluation, people just go crazy. So understand that this is something that he really couldn't do a whole lot about, which is pass blocking, right? You see a lot of clips on here. It's mostly just run blocking clips. Well, that's because the high school he played at was a mostly run blocking high school. So there's really nothing he can do about that, right? The lack of pass set reps do worry me because it's just hard to get just those game reps, but it is something you can work on in practice, right? One-on-one pass rush drills, it's not the most lifelike thing. There's a piece of me that just don't like them at all, but in those drills, you can work on your passing sets. So obviously that's something that he will have to transition when he gets to the next level. He's also not the absolute biggest guy, but at 6'3", 280, 285, 290, 295, whatever he is, that is more than enough size to play SEC Division I Power 5 offensive line. And then, of course, the next thing with Brad Davis, and that could this could change from the time he puts pen to paper, is what is his best position. I don't think he is an offensive tackle. I think he's more of a guard and center type of player. So the good thing about that is there's not a whole lot of elite high school recruits on the offensive line that actually play center in high school, right? So DJ Chester, I don't believe was much of a center in high school, and he's obviously having to train to become a center at the Division I Power 5 level, which will more likely be the starting center for LSU next season. He does have snapping experience, so I do think LSU will look to mold him into the DJ Chester backup at center. That's just me speculating at this point. But he could also play guard. He's definitely plenty athletic enough. And overall, you could just tell by my excitement, I am really excited that LSU brought in another offensive lineman. So let's talk about the offensive line class as a whole. Weston Davis, Ori Williams, Kari Lee, really good players. Joseph Big Hoss Cryer, definitely a nice pickup mixed in there as well. And then, of course, you got the behemoth, Ethan Callaway, coming in from the East Coast. This is a really nice offensive line pickup. I do want to share this. It is hard to pick up offensive linemen in the transfer portal. So I don't mind a 6-person offensive line recruiting crop. Yes, of course, there are huge needs on LSU. Absolutely massive, but understand that offensive line is not a position that is very portal friendly. So the numbers in high school need to be high, and bringing in 6, I'm definitely always open to that. And just as a disclaimer, I think every Division I Power 5 school should bring in at least 4 offensive linemen in every high school recruiting class. That's how dire it is to bring these guys in, because, Louisiana has never really been a huge offensive line producer. Now, once again, some of the guys that we have committed in this class are from Louisiana, but you don't get a whole lot of blue chippers out of that state year over year. So definitely pumped up about Coen Echols, and more so, and this is something we talked about on Patreon. If you want to join our Patreon, please go on ahead, check it out. You'll see my Mike Denbrock's reactions, all different kinds of stuff. Check it out. Is Brad Davis. I mean, there is not a single coach on this staff who increased his stock or his, or at least my viewpoint of him before the season. There's no one that's increased his overall view from last year to this year more than Brad Davis. One of the best offensive line classes we brought in is this year, and definitely just the overall coaching of the unit. This unit just got better and better and better to where they were a Joe Moore Award finalist. So good stuff from Brad Davis and Mike Denbrock. I say Mike Denbrock, but yeah, him too, and Brian Kelly for getting this offensive line crop to where it is. Boom! I'm looking at you. As we always do at the end of every recruit breakdown that we do, we save my favorite clip for last. This is actually, I believe, from his junior season. This is some really good red zone blocking. So, of course, LSU's not going to do a whole lot of I formation things, so that's going to be a transition for LSU. But one thing that they did a lot of was very tight, compressed goal line formations, and that makes it tougher on the offensive linemen. Now, as we break this play down, you'll see this defensive lineman execute something called a stem. What a stem is a pre-snap move from one position to the next. So this defensive lineman stems from the inside shoulder to the outside shoulder of Coen Echols, who here is lined up at right tackle. So some people call this a 4-eye to a 5. It just depends on which numbering system you want to use. But either way, that's not, the real deal here. So this block actually becomes more difficult for Coen Echols. It's a little zone run to the right side, and his job is to open up this hole. So pre-snap, it looked like this hole was just going to be open up, and all he had to do was just seal this lineman on in. But now he has to get around this offensive lineman, seal him to the inside, and he does actually a little something special here at the end. That's a good first step, getting his inside shoulder to the outside shoulder of this offensive lineman. Pad level, you offensive line coaches, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, is okay here. But that's fine. You could argue it's a little high there, but still, he gets there, and then he gets to this next level to get to this backer right here. And look at that, all right? Him getting that inside shoulder helped this guard get to this defensive lineman, and now he's to the second level. And look at this hole for this running back to run through. He could have ran through here, but instead he actually cuts. That's actually not the running back. I actually got him lost right there. This is the RB. Still, that was a fullback actually coming in and hitting this guy. And the RB is basically able to run through unscathed because Coen Echols is over here finishing a human being. So that's some really, really, really good stuff right there from a big, big, big boy. So, good day for Brian Kelly and the LSU recruiting class. And this class looks to be one that will be firmly planted in the top 10 after they pick up Dominic McKinley and Terry Bussey. Fingers crossed on that, and we'll talk to you soon. Don't forget, there's plenty of ways you can support what we're doing. Hit that super thanks button in the bottom right corner, baby. It is Power Hour LSU. Boom! Let's go! Let's go! Building the freaking trenches. Coen, I'm ready to see you, baby. And tonight, we are doing lemon pepper chicken wings. Let's go!